Well, it usually
I'm being asked to start AI companion. I X'd it out. However, I do not see.
I guess it's recording.
Oh, there we are. Thank you. Last time it had moved to the bottom and now it's back up to the top again. Cool. Oh, mixed bag at Belmont Village on July 21, 2025. Here we have Renu. Renu.
Good morning, good evening, everyone. Today I'm sharing a story. I haven't shared this before, so this is the first time. So pardon me if I make mistakes. Kumar was extremely fastidious. Everything had to be just so. He was very, very particular. He woke up sharp at 6 o'clock in the morning. By 6:15, he was done with his morning ablutions. He would be out, his hair combed exactly the same way every morning, dressed neatly in a shirt and trousers, and he would come down exactly the same way that he did every day, one step at a time. And his wife, who was in the kitchen, knew that he was coming down the stairs. Dum, dum, dum. And when he was downstairs, he would walk into the dining room and sit down in the same chair, the same way that he sat on every single morning. And everything on the table had to be exactly in the same place. Nothing should be moved even a small centimeter. He would notice and he would say, Jyoti, why has this moved out of the way? Put it back. Or he would place it very carefully inside. Jyoti was used to his ways. From the time they got married, he had been like this. Nothing had changed. But he was a kind person. He was very thoughtful. He always remembered her birthdays. And other than this, almost, you would say in modern parlance, OCD, he was fine. He was not particular only at home, same in the office as well. Everybody swore that they could tell the time by just looking at Kumar. Precisely at 9 o'clock, he would open his office and sit on his chair. And precisely at 5 in the evening, he would leave the office. Nothing changed over the years. Now, Kumar was very particular about everything, but he was not a very happy person. He was an insomniac. He couldn't sleep at night. Barely 2 to 3 hours is all that he could manage because he was always so tense. Will I get up on time? Will I do this? Will my bed sheet be different? Will my pillow cover be exactly in the same place? And his life was not very easy. Jyoti tried to make things as easy and as happy for him as possible, but he wasn't happy. One day, he came back home early. He had to travel the next day and he had to take out a particular briefcase from the loft. He hadn't used that in a long, long time. It contained some papers that he needed very bad. Jyoti had gone to the temple, so he went downstairs and found the ladder. Like I said, everything had a place and everything was always in its place. He found the ladder, took it upstairs to his room, got on top of it, opened the loft, and started looking for the briefcase. He knew exactly where it was, but something else had been placed on top of it. He pulled at it, but it was something that wouldn't budge. It was an old pillow. So he went downstairs, brought a hook, long stick with a hook, and he tried pulling out that pillow. But no matter how much he tugged, it just wouldn't budge. And he couldn't get at the briefcase either. He tried and tried and tried, and finally, pillowcase ripped. And all that fine cotton and feathers came drifting out and out and out, and covered him, his hair, his clothes. the bed, the floor, and he was shocked. He looked at everything like this. Oh dear God, his house, his home, his room that had been so spotless was now covered with this feathery whiteness. How was he going to clean it all? Seemed like an impossible task. And Jyoti wasn't in at home. He couldn't call her to help. He slowly climbed down. He had forgotten all about his briefcase. He got down from the ladder and looked at the mess all around. It would take him a long, long time because you see, everything had to be spotless. He would have to gather all those feathers, and they had settled everywhere, every surface on the curtains, on the tabletop, on that small TV they had in their room, the chair, the bed. He sat down for a moment on the bed and then he lay down and he fell fast asleep. It was just 7:30 in the evening, but he slept and slept and slept. Didn't even hear Jyoti coming back. He didn't hear her calling out his name, and she just let him sleep. And the next morning, he woke up and his alarm went off. He woke up and he felt a strange feeling flood his body. It was happiness, something he had never, ever experienced. He had such a beautiful night's sleep, something he had not enjoyed ever from the time he could remember. He woke up, he got out of bed in a nice mood. He didn't bother having a bath. He just dusted himself off and then went down the stairs, not in the way he used to. When Jyoti heard the whistle, she was amazed. Only thing that had ever whistled at her had been the cooker. And now she came out and saw the smile on his face. When he came down and sat down at the dining table, breakfast was ready. But one of the salt containers had moved out of the way. Oh, let me correct that, she said. Don't bother, Jyoti. Smile. Shall we eat? He said with a smile. And Jyoti knew her life would change forever. Thank you for listening.
Were the feathers magic?
Yeah, sometimes I think we need a catalyst to change, to transform from what we were before.
Yes. Were they cleaned up when he woke up?
No, he didn't
They were
bother.
still all over?
Completely transformed. He didn't even have a bath.
Oh, that's funny. Yes, that's good.
Very short and cute story, Renu. There are so many perfectionists like that, like this, and you know,
They're
they
unhappy,
don't. Yeah, they're unhappy. They can't accept other people as they are. They try to change other people, and friction starts from there. I can, I could correlate the story.
That's why, to a large extent, I was like this, not so particular, but certain things are very particular. As the last couple of years, I've given up everything. I said, nothing is worth the stress. Nothing on earth. And nothing bothers me anymore. I used to be very particular about drying the clothes, in a particular way, it has to be clipped in a particular way. Now I decided the clothes need to dry. That's all it means. So forget the fuss, forget the stress. Now I'm so much happier. I think all these things we develop because it's kind of coping mechanism. We have so many times things that are psychologically stored in our memory. And I think this is a coping mechanism. I know my sister, one of my sisters, she's very particular about cleanliness. She cleans the counter at least 10 times. She doesn't like a speck of dust on the counter. She's very particular about the way her clothes are hung, the way her bed is kept. And she's very particular when I go to house. I have to be very, very careful. Don't walk there. Don't walk here. Sit here. Don't sit there. So, it's difficult to live with people like that. So I think it's very important for us to be very, very free with the way we are, so we can make others comfortable. We can also be comfortable.
Yes.
Yes, even I have become much more flexible nowadays. Like you said, Renu, even I like the clothes to be put in certain way and all those things. Otherwise, it really irritates me. Just the mere sight of that really irritates me. And then I end up doing so many things. And then I felt that whole day I am occupied.
Yeah.
But now I think once you turn 50, you started, I mean, you start letting things go because now you
Oh.
want to lead a peaceful life and don't bother.
Yeah, but I use it for sorting. If I don't put things back, I don't know where they are and I have to look all over.
Same here. That's
So you
that's
have,
something very particular. Yeah, a
have to
place
have,
for everything. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, Bobby.
you
Sorry.
have to have some, but you can't go too far.
So far.
It's compulsion.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, isn't it? So you have to have
No,
a nice
I'm
balance.
very particular about a place for everything in its place. Because when I want to look for something, I should find it there. Whereas my family is not like that. They take up the house keys and leave it somewhere else. And I'm spending so much time hunting for it, especially when I'm in a hurry. When I want something, I know exactly where to find it, I will find it. But when they
Right.
move things around,
The box and chutneys.
Yes. I have your sound is off, Linda. I have a different type of story. Linda, did you want to say something? Uh,
Yeah, you can see how I've challenged doing the recording and my volume. I just wanted to acknowledge the saying that Rainy, should other
you need
people
to
be
mute
muted?
yourself, Shri.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I had
Renu, you use an expression in India that we have growing up here in the States. Our parents would say it a lot, a place for everything and everything in its place. And now we're going to do a, before we have Bobby, or maybe there's other remarks for Renu, but I want to, Renu's story with the staircase. It's almost a character. And Renu, and it was a man, but I'm going to take the staircase and I'm going to go to, I think it was Pablo Picasso and his famous painting of a woman descending a staircase. Because your story is so much like this man who is, and I've got your clomp thing, which you did much better. To have that transform to something as graceful. Anyway, thank you, Frenu.
Thank you. Thank you, Linda.
Any more comments? Oh, I thought I'd paused us. Well, anyway, okay. Any more comments for Renu? Bobby, are you the one who is planning to go next?
I am, but I have to do something
Oh, okay.
terrible in front of the screen. Maybe I should, no, I have to do this. I'm sorry, guys. I also have a lot of hay fever. Okay. All right. Once about a time, a long time ago, beyond the ponds, beyond the ponds, beyond the ponds, and beyond the ponds in Russia, there was this beautiful young maiden named Vasilisa. Some of you have heard, have I told this before? Never mind. Have I told this before? Okay, Vasilisa.
Oh, you haven't.
All right. I know Russia isn't popular right now, but this was way before any of that trouble started. It's an ancient story. So Vasilisa was walking through her countryside where her father had farms. He was the king. Her father had farms. And she was sliding through the mud and her dress was slipping on top of it. And she was saying goodbye to her friends. She was saying goodbye to the farmers. She was saying goodbye to the um, people in the village, and the children were walking beside her, holding her hand, and the cows and the young calves and the chickens and the dogs and the cats were also following her. And she says, "I just have to do this. I have to do this. I must do this." And so she waved goodbye to them, gave them all hugs, and then she ran to the castle. As she's going up the castle steps, she could hear her father yelling and screaming after. Um, Gorosky, he was the old boneless, he was immortal, and he was invincible. And his father had fought with them because he said he wanted Vasilisa for his wife. And his father wasn't going to have any part of it. So they were having this huge argument. And old boneless Kurosky was this big fog and this menace, and his voice yelled, and he was cold. And his father was standing up, shaking his fist at him. And so here comes Vasilisa ready to give herself to him. And her mother grabbed her arm and she says, "No, daughter, you're going to come with me." And she says, "But Mom, I have to do this. It's the only way. If I'm his wife, he will not bother you anymore." She said, "You're not going to be his wife. You're precious to me and we love you. And this is what's going to happen." So they went to the back of the palace and they walked down these little steep stairs to the carriage room. And the young guy who cleaned up the carriages opened the door. And right in front of her was this beautiful white carriage. And it had gold trim on it, and it was being held by a maiden in a white dress. And there were two white horses, and two maidens were waiting for her. And Vasilisa knew them. They were the young maidens from the village that her mother had chose to be her companions. And they'd learned a lot about magic together and traveled together over going different places. And she smiled at them, and they smiled back at her. And she said, her mother said, "Vasilisa, you're going to my great aunt Boogle Yaga the weaver, and she's going to take care of you. And here's your luggage. It's all in there. And here's some wine, yarns, and wool to give to her. And you're late, you're friends. And in this white coat, you're going to sneak through the terrible war that's going on, the language and the fog, and you're going to get out of here." Well, Vasilisa was helped up by her two friends into the carriage, and then they got in, and then they heard this whip snap, and the carriage went off, and it flew up into the sky, and they could look down and see this raging battle, and the snow falling, and the clouds, and she started to cry, and they were galloping and galloping and galloping. And I'll tell you some more of the story next time. Thank you very much for listening.
Very nice, Bobby. Why did you leave it on a cliffhanger?
What? Say that again?
Why did you leave us on a cliffhanger, I said?
Because that's what story is about. You want to go to the next chapter.
Actually, I've told a different version of Vasilisa.
Yeah, the Frog Princess is what she's called, but it goes beyond the frog. I've added a whole bunch to it. It's about 7,000 words, but I won't make it that long. It's a lot of chapters. I had a lot of fun. I did it in 2007, and I've been working on it and working on it and working on it. So I told it once at this camp, Quincy Camp up in Quincy. Was it Quincy? Yes, I told it once, and they loved it. So it was over 3 or 4 or 5 days. So you're on an adventure. Thank you.
You're on mute, Linda.
Quincy, California, Bobby?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's
Is it under redwoods? I'm picturing this.
I think they're mostly pines and spruce. It's too far up. It's very, very dry. It's up in the mountains towards the east, north. I've gone to, my son went there to camps, and then I would go up. They have a big summer camp and they needed a storyteller. So I went up 2 or 3 times, 2005. So I've had this story going on for a long time.
Oh my.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you told it. And I'm rather glad to know that there's more to follow.
There's lots more.
I love Russian folk tales, those names of Baba Yaga and all that. And listening this from you is all the more a
There's
delight. It's just, yeah, I'm sure.
and the
Yeah.
Baba. Yeah, you'll learn more about them.
Yeah,
We
in
knew
fact, when
Bobby.
we were children, there were lots and lots of storybooks in Russian, from Russia. Lots of storybooks we used to get. So we were very familiar with those names and the books.